All right, hey everyone, back for another workout. Today we're going to do some groundwork and throw, individual drills, and just some body weight exercises. It might be helpful if you have some sort of mat or yoga mat or at least carpeting. We'll be doing some stuff on the ground, so it might be more comfortable if you have a slightly soft surface rather than, say, a hardwood floor. And I'll be doing some timing stuff with you. We'll be doing some count stuff with you. I think I'm going to stay with you with video the whole time. I'm trying this on my computer instead of my phone, so hopefully I'll have more memory to shoot longer video. But if you ever need to pause to catch up or take a break and grab some water or something like that, go ahead and pause. That's fine and come back. We're going to start off with 5 different movement exercises, and we're going to do them back to back to back. So just to explain, the first one what we're going to do is a little, basically a standing guard pass exercise. So I'm imagining there's someone down here. And I want to shift around side to side. So I'm going to shift to the side, and then come back, and then shift to the other side. Good. Like that. We're just going to go side, back, and back. Second one we're going to do is mountain climbers. That's out in push-up position. You're going to bring one knee up, and then switch like this. Third one we're going to do is jump squats. That's squat and jump, like that. Fourth is bear crawls, like this. And if you've got limited space, you can just go right back and forth, like that. And the fifth one is going to be inchworms. I'm going to start, touch my toes, walk out, and then walk my hands right back in. Just like that. I get my timer set up here. All right, everybody ready? We're going to start with the slipping side to side. Twenty more seconds. 10 seconds. All right. Mountain climbers. Ten seconds. And into some jump squats. Ready? Halfway there, 15 seconds. Five seconds. Whew. All right. 2 more to go. Bear crawls. And inchworms. Ten more seconds. All right. Man, I feel like you're out of shape, like 2.5 minutes of continuous exercise. All right, one more exercise and warm up here. This is going to be sprawl kickbacks. This is sort of like kicking back to a push-up position, which would be I'm going to drop my hands down, kick my feet back into push-up position. Except instead of going square back, what I want to do is drop one of my hips down to the ground. The idea here is someone's coming to try to tackle me, and I want to kick my legs back to get my legs out of the way and drive my hips down in towards the ground to sort of ankle them down into the ground. So what I'm going to do as I kick back is turn off to one side and drop that hip down to the ground. And then I'll do it again. I'll drop the other hip. All right, let's do 10 each side. Yeah, let's just make that 10 total. All right, next set here of 4 exercises. We're going to do 10 on each side. So the first one is going to be hip kickouts. So what I'm going to do is start in a square, and I take one of my feet, then bring it between the line of my opposite foot and opposite hand. As I do, I'm picking up the opposite foot, so I'm moving my right foot, picking up my left hand, and opening my chest up towards the ceiling. Move where I bring it back, and I do the other side. So my left foot goes through, open up towards the ceiling. So all together, you're sort of popping back and forth like that. That's exercise 1. Exercise 2 in this set is back step overs. A similar thing here. I'm going to bring this foot up and rotate it all the way around, down, and then kick up. Foot up, all the way over. Like that. Okay, we're going to do 10 each side of each of those, starting with the hip kick throughs. So, go. 2. 6, 7. All right, and moving over to step overs. Halfway. 1. 2. 7, 8, 9. All right, next up. Get my timer set up here. We're going to do 3-point planks around the world. So, we're going to hold plank, this, high plank, and we're going to alternate, picking up either one leg or one arm. I'm going to start with my left hand, right foot, left foot, sort of going all the way around your body. This, you're going to pick it up for 3 seconds. Other one for 3 seconds. Like that. We're going to go around clockwise twice, and then counterclockwise twice. All right, you ready? Assume your high plank position, and left hand. 1, 2, 3. Right hand. Right foot. Left foot. 2, 3. Hand. 3. Right hand. 2, 3. Right foot. Left foot. Going back the other way. Right foot. 1, 2, 3. Right hand. Left hand. Left foot. Right foot. Right hand. Left hand. Left foot. All right. Now we're going to do the same thing, but from the crab position. So we're going to be up here on all fours. Same thing, we're going to go clockwise once, or clockwise twice, and then counterclockwise twice. I'm going to move my timer here so that I can see it. All right, ready? Left foot, 2. Right foot. Right hand. Left hand. Left foot. Right foot. Right hand. Left hand. And going back the other way, right hand. Right foot. Left foot. Left hand. Right hand. Right foot. Right, left foot. And left hand. Good. 2 more drills in this set. Now we'll take a quick break. We're going to do walking side to side with push-up, if you want. So, I'm going to start in push-up position here. And I'm going to walk to the side if you want. You do a push-up on either side. If push-up's too hard, just walk side to side up in push-up position. Let's walk back and forth 10 times. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. All right, and last one here. We're going to do side planks with twisting and reaching. So, you do side plank on your forearm, like here, and I'm going to take my free hand, and I reach down, and I'm going to pull up, like I'm pulling something from underneath my armpit up towards the ceiling. Let's do 10 each side. Ready? Up in your side plank and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Take a break for a minute, grab a drink of water, and we'll be back here in a second. Let's stretch a little bit. We'll throw in some other exercises while we're stretching, but we'll start with head rotations, both directions. And up and down, left and right. And ear to shoulder. Shoulder circles forward. Add some elbow. And big arm circles. And just shoulders backwards. Add some elbow. And big arm circles. Chain breakers. And trunk twists. Hip rotations. Knee rotations. Right foot up, rotate the ankle. And pull behind. And in front. And if you'd like, you can cross it over your other thigh. And left foot ankle. Pull behind. And in front. And reaching up side to side. And from here, swan dive down, reaching for your toes. From here, hands on your shins and flatten your back out. And then relax your back, leaning down towards your toes. And shift the weight to the left. And to the right. Back to the middle. Sneak to the front of my mat here. And plant your hands, walk out to high plank. We're going to do this a couple of times. We're going to go high plank, low plank, holding yourself just off the ground if you can. And then up dog, hips forward, shoulders back. And downward dog. And we're going to repeat high plank, low plank, up dog, downward dog, high plank, low plank, up dog, downward dog, high plank, low plank, upward dog, downward dog. Let's hit my back. All right, from here back to high plank. And we're gonna do big step forwards. So I'm gonna take my right foot and bring it up, forward up towards my shoulder. Hold it for a second or two, bring it back. Left foot up. And switch, right foot. Left foot. Right foot. Left foot. Right foot. Left foot. And one last pair. Right foot. And left foot. Back to downward dog. And you're going to walk your hands in towards your feet. As you do, widen your feet out a little bit. And hang down towards the middle. Hands to the left. Hands to the right. Back to the middle. Carefully bring your upper body upright. Turn your right foot out for side kick stretch. And up to a lunge. Side kick stretch to the other side. And up to a lunge. And from here, sit down. Into butterfly. And left foot over, hug your knee towards your chest. Those are the muscles that are sore from my hike yesterday. And switch, right foot over. All right, and take a minute or two, stretch anything else you feel needs to get stretched, and I'll meet you back here. All right, next up, we're gonna do some groundwork, hip and leg drills. We're gonna start with the drill I learned from Sistema. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit in, I don't know what you call this, leg position. So I've got one leg in front of me, one leg behind, sort of like Neanderthal position, with feet together, or foot to knee here. And what I'm gonna do, so like this, is I'm gonna use my glutes and my hips and abs to sit myself up over this ship. Ideally, try not to use my hands. So just from here, sitting over, shouldn't really opening up the hips. It helps if you think about a string attached to your belly button, getting sort of pulled up diagonally towards the ceiling, and just it's pulling you up. I'm gonna sit back down, and I'm gonna switch feet, so my feet are gonna stay where they are, and I'm gonna switch my knees out to the other side. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Up. And up. Okay, let's try that. We'll try 10 each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, Great, next up, classic Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu leg pummeling drill. So I'm going to be on my back here. Whenever you're on your back, try not to let your head touch the ground. It's just a bad habit. So keep your neck and maybe your upper abs tensed a little bit here. You're always assuming that there's someone here that you've got to see and protect against. Only time your head goes to the ground is if you're going to be bridging off of it, which we'll do in a bit. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm basically drawing big circles with my feet. I'm thinking about like wrapping my foot or pulling my foot out from something and wrapping their leg, or the other way around. As I'm doing this, I want to generate this motion for my abs and my hips. So I'm not just drawing my circles around, but you can see my hips are wiggling back and forth because I'm using the hip turn to do it. So on one of them, I'm coming up on the inside with both my legs, up on the inside, up on the inside. The other direction, I'm going to be coming down with my legs on both sides. Let's do it. I don't know, 10 cycles, both directions. So I'm going to start with up on the inside because that's the one that always feels more natural to me, but you can do it the other way if you wanted. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Whew. All right, one more in this set. That's going to be grabbing triangles with your legs. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to try to arc my hips up off the ground here, and then I'm going to wrap up a triangle. I know some of my students here haven't learned this yet, so what I'm basically doing is I'm taking one foot, tucking it in the opposite knee pit, and then locking that foot in. This will end up being a choke because the person's head and arm will be caught in between your thighs, but for the moment, it's just going to be an exercise. So you're going to lift up your hip, tuck it in, come back down, lift up your hip, tuck it in the other side. Like that. Let's do 10 each side. Whew. Just moving the mat forward here. Great. Take a second. Catch your breath. Next set. Going to be some more groundwork drills. We've got turtle on its back rotations, shrimps in place, bridges, and bridges to reach. So, first exercise here. It's a really great core, especially oblique exercise. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be on my back, like I'm a turtle, hands in, and I want to rotate without touching the ground with any of my limbs. So just my core and my hips are maybe on the ground. I'm going to rotate around in a circle. Like that. You should be able to go both ways. It's a lot easier on the slippery surface than it is on a sticky surface like carpet. Give it a try, see if you can go 2 circles around in one direction and 2 circles around in the other direction. Ooh, other side. Ooh. Next up, we're going to shrimps in place. I think most of you have done this, at least in warm-up, if not for real. So, I'm going to be on my back, my feet on the ground. I'm going to pull my feet in close to my butt. And what I'm going to do is roll up onto one side, so I'm on one shoulder, and press against the ground with my feet to push my hips up that way. So if I started with my head facing this way, that's the way that my hips are going to go, and I'm going to fold in half, ending up in this position, which is why we call it a shrimp, because you look like a shrimp. Remember, we're going to come back. Often we do this across the room. For the moment, we'll just do it in place, and you'll just uncurl yourself. Feet in close to your butt, roll up onto one shoulder, so only my feet and my shoulder are touching the ground, and then push my hips, fold in half. Here's what it looks like from the side. Feet in, roll up to one side, fold in half. The curl, other side. All right. Common mistakes are not bringing your feet in. So you can see if my feet are in close towards my butt, when I push, there's a lot of extension I can do with my legs. I can extend really far. If my feet are up here, when I roll to the side, I can't go very far. There's not a lot of push. That makes it hard. So first step, bring your feet in close towards your butt. Second common mistake people get is letting their feet slip out. So as they go to push, the feet slip out in the air. And then, of course, you can't push off the ground if your feet aren't touching the ground. So plant those feet, keep them on the ground. Third mistake I see people doing is not rolling up to their side. So they're here, and they try to just push their back, and it's really hard to push your hips back if your whole back and shoulders are on the ground. So what you want to do is roll up to one side. I'm basically getting myself out of the way of my hips so that there's a nice line for my hips to move on, and my upper body's out of the way. And that allows me to fold in half. So from here, I'm rolling here, and you can see now my upper body's out of the way of my hips. So that when I fold my hips, I can fold in half, and I'm completely sideways and folding all the way in half, touching all the way down to my toes. All right, let's do 10 of those each side. 2. 6. If you need to reset, go ahead and reset. 8. 'All right. Next up is bridges. I'm going to start with just square, I call maybe warm-up bridges. Hand on my back, square on my shoulders, feet in close to my butt, balls of the feet on the ground. And all I'm going to do is extend my hips up. Like that. Again, same problem I was talking about before. If your feet are too far out, there's not a lot you can push off of. You can't get your hips very high. Where as soon as you can bring your heels all the way as close to your butt as you can then bridge up really high. If you have a bad back, be careful of this. Try not to arch too much. Just bring your hips up as high as they can go without hurting. And then down. You'll still be working on that posterior chain and the ability to drive someone off of you from underneath. Okay? Let's do 10 of those. Great. When I'm doing these, I always keep my hands up rather than down. Some people, when they do them as exercises, they put their hands down here for a little bit of left-right stability. I think that left-right stability is part of the drill. Also, we're practicing this for potentially groundwork. I'm thinking about needing my hands up here to hold on to someone or wrap up arms or something like that. So I want to keep my hands up as I'm doing this. All right, we're going to add on to this. And now what we're going to do is roll off onto one side. So as I bridge up here, I'm going to roll off to one shoulder. You could post on your head also if you want, but be careful of your neck. Safest way to do it for the moment is just up onto one shoulder. And I'm going to take my hand and touch it across my body to the other side. So I am leaning to my left. I'm going to take my right hand and touch it all the way over here. So I'm not quite turning all the way over yet. That would be the next step. I'm just bridging up on one side, bridging up on the other. In the front view, bridging up on one side, bridging up on the other. Back view here. Okay, give it a try. Let's do 10 each side. Seven, 8. Great, that's it. Grab another quick sip of water, and we'll come back. We're gonna do some throw footwork, throw drills. And I should mention, for this next set, you're gonna want 4 objects. Doesn't really matter what they are. They're gonna go just as markers on the floor, so they could just be sticky notes, or I've got some hand targets and paddles here, because that's what I happen to have around. So grab those while you're on break. All right, so what are we doing next? Doing footwork around a square. All right, so next we're going to do some footwork around a square here. So you want to set up your 4 objects so that they're, each a little bit wider than, say, a wide shoulder stance. I'm going to stay in the middle of them. They're just sort of reference points on the ground for you. This is sort of setting up for some throw footwork. What I'm going to do from here is I'm going to walk around the square. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to shuffle my left foot into my right, and then right foot out so that I'm in the same place I was, just facing 90 degrees around the square. So shuffle in. Like that. And of course we can go the other way, roll my right foot in here. All right, so things to watch out for. I don't want to jump into it, because again, if we're in judo throw mode, if I bring my hips up, that's exactly when I'm going to get taken off balance. So I want to keep low and shuffle sideways. And watch partial shuffles. Try to get all the way around the corner in one sort of crisp move. Okay, let's go around the circle twice in one direction, twice in the other direction. All right, we're going to do that again, and we're going to add a couple things to it. One, see if you can stay on the balls of your feet. I like to think about leaning forward just a little bit, partially because what I'm thinking in my head is that this is a throw where I'm sideways to someone here, I've got a grip on them here, and I'm going to be stepping in and throwing them this way, which means I want my weight coming forward. You, of course, could think of this as more of a reaper throw that way. We'll practice that in a second. But for the moment, I like to stay on the balls of my feet, weight a little bit forward, but I'm trying not to bend for my hips too much. This means I'm just going to butt check the person. Instead, I'm trying to make myself be leaning forward just a little bit. So I may feel a little bit off balance forward, and that's okay. That's the direction I want to be off balance if I'm off balance at all. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think about what I'm doing with my hands. I'm going to think about holding onto someone here, so I'm moving around to my right. I'm grabbing onto someone on this side, and as I step, I'm going to pull them towards their opposite side. So I'm grabbing someone on my right, I want to throw them to the left, and as I do, I'm moving to the right side. Does that make sense? Grab to your right, throw them to what starts as your left, it's going to end up being right in front of you. All right, again, do 2 times around each side. move these off just for the moment. We'll use two of them more again in a second. We're going to work on long step. So at least my students, I think most of you, have done a short step as we're working on handwork last week, I think it was, where we're dealing with moving just a tiny bit side to side. This, when we did it, was in the context of boxing, where I'm just doing small adjustments to change the angle or move a little bit so that I can block something here, right? But I'm not moving very much, and I'm keeping the same foot forward, same foot back. Long step is going to be a sliding step, similar to what we were just doing, but forward. So at the moment, if I'm starting, say, right foot forward, left foot back, what I'm going to do is slide my left foot in towards my right, and then move my right foot in forward. So I'm here, I'm sliding my back foot in, and moving forward. So I'm covering a longer distance, which is why it's a long step instead of short step, and I'm really thinking about pushing my hips forward. So this sets up my hips to be pushed forward in the second one. This is some similarities in some ways to, say, formal front stance that we sometimes practice. The only difference is that mostly I'm not locking out this back leg because I'm thinking about using it for a throw or something else. But it's that sort of motion where I'm really thinking about driving my weight forward into something. Steps. And you can do it backwards. Long step also, which is a little more of a defensive move. It's not really used for a throw per se. But same thing. So once I come here forward, I can then slide this foot in and push back here. So I can slide forward and then slide back. Slide forward and then slide back. Ideally, after each one of these motions, I'm still in a good stance. So, I'm still feet about shoulder width apart, maybe shoulder width depth. Knees bent a little bit, weight on the balls of my feet, and upper body resting comfortably on top of my hips, not leaning forward, not leaning back or side to side, but sort of right here. So I slide forward. Here I might be a little forward if I'm thinking about pushing forward for a throw, and back. I want to be nice and even. Forward, back. All right, let's try that. Forward, back, 10 times each side, and then we'll add something onto it. Okay? So. All right, we're going to do this for a couple of different throw setups. First one we're going to do is for a major outer reap, which is, for those of you who haven't seen it, if you imagine someone mirroring me standing here, I'm going to come off just to the side, and I'm picking up their outside leg to trip them, drop them on the ground. We'll work on this whenever we can reconvene with partners again. For the moment, it'll just be, if you don't know that, it'll be an abstract movement drill, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to do the same long step. I'm going to bring this back foot in. I'm going to push forward with this front leg, right? So as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about hands also. I'm thinking about pushing on the step here, and then I'm going to bring this leg up, almost like I'm starting a kick. Bring it up, and slide through. I'm pivoting on this slide. Boom. I'm pivoting from the hip, so I'm letting my upper body fall forward. Pivoting all the way through. So, step in, push, reap, slide back. Reap, slide back. If you lose your balance a little bit on the reap, don't worry about it too much. Just catch your balance again, come back and try it again. Let's try 5 each side on that. Here, I'll show you the front version also. Boom. Slide. Sweep. All right, 5 each side. All right, that was for a major outer reap. Next up, major inner reap. So major inner reap, that is, again, if you imagine someone here, in fact, let me, these are someone's feet standing like this. Whereas major outer, I was coming to the outside of this leg to sweep through. On major inner, I'm using this same part of my leg, the big outside part of my leg, but I'm going to the inside instead. And what I'm going to think about is drawing a circle around that leg. Right? Because if I take my leg and draw a circle around theirs while I'm pushing them backwards, that's going to make them fall over. So in fact, let's use these. I think that'll be helpful. And on this one, for me, when I practice this, the sweep is the second part of the long step. So on major outer reap, we were doing the full long step. We were going shuffle in, step, and then take another step in for the reap. On this one, I find it makes more sense if I shuffle in, and then as I'm pushing forward for this second part of the step, instead of stepping all the way forward, I draw a circle. So I'm here, I'm going to step, slide, push forward, and draw a circle. As you draw a circle and you push forward, that foot may get behind you, and you may end up stumbling forward like I just did. That's okay, just don't hurt yourself. Do it as slowly as you need to not fall over. This is just working on the footwork. Slide, draw a circle. As I'm starting to draw a circle, I want to push this person back towards that direction. Okay, slide, circle. Slide, circle. Let's do 5 each side. It helps if where your feet meet is pretty close to in between the two mats. If you're too far away, it's going to be really hard to draw that circle around. So, this is a relatively close range throw. Of course, all throws are relatively close range. But, all right, next up is an inner reap. So both the two reaps we just did were outer reaps. We did major outer, and outer means using the, they're both major reaps. We're going to do a minor reap next. That's what I meant to say. These are major reaps, meaning I'm using the sort of major motion of my body, the big outside legs and glutes. And it was either to the outside of them, the major outer, or to the inside of them, major inner. There are also minor reaps, where I use the more minor part of my body, that is the inside thigh, rather than the outside thigh. And as I come this, I'm either thinking about, say, hooking their leg with my calf, or if it's more of a sweep than a reap, I'm thinking about like sweeping their foot out from underneath them. I often like to think like there's something on the floor and I'm trying to sweep it out of the way with my foot. is a perfect time to use something you can actually push out of the way. Like, a shoe or a hand target. So same thing here. This could end up being either inner or outer on them, but it's going to be minor in either case. I'm going to start with one foot pretty close. You can see how close my foot is to the other one. I'm going to do that long step in. As I do, I'm actually going to let it slide this foot out a little bit. And then sweep back in. So shuffle, sweep. I'm trying to get the bottom of my foot. So I'm not kicking it with the side of my foot, but I'm pushing it along with the bottom of my foot. Shuffle, sweep. Note that as I'm sweeping, I'm leaning off the other way, so I'm not pushing with it, but I'm pushing against it, because this is their legs. I want someone standing here, I want their upper body to tip off to this side, while I push their lower body to that side, which makes them fall over. So I'm sweeping in and I'm trying to lean through a little bit. If you can pull with your hands also, that's great. All right, let's try 5 each side. I'm just going back and forth across the mat here because that seems to make sense for me. All right, we've got 2 more exercises for today. One is related to this sweep, but it's a little bit more of a sacrifice sweep or a takedown with reaps. So rather than relying on my amazing judo skills to get the person off balance and just barely touch their leg and have them fall and me stay up, this one I'm going to fall down with them, basically use my body weight falling to take them down. So similar motion, I'm going to slide in here and I'm going to reap. I'm just going to reap a little farther. I'm going to end up landing on the outside of my thigh. It's going to end up as a knee underfall for those of you who know knee underfalls. It'll be a weird side fall for those of you who just know side fall. Do this one slowly if you don't know the first couple times, because it could stretch your back or your hips, so just take it nice and easy. What I'm going to do here is slide in, and this, instead of sliding here, I'm going to reach all the way around and drive my knee that way. So I'm coming through here, sliding this foot all the way across, and rolling all the way up that side. What this does is, as I say hook this person's leg, I can then drive my whole body forward. I've got their leg pinned here, so they can't pull their leg to step it back that way. And I'm going to fall down this way to take their leg down. Again, this could be inner or outer. Same motion. Step in, slide. Go ahead, try 5 each side. This one actually makes more sense with a person because they slow your descent. So rather than me having to catch myself hands here, I'm actually just falling on top of them. Find the shoes in your way, move it out of the way. All right, guys, last exercise for today. This one is going to be, well, in some ways technically easier than what we just did, but it'll be a little more aerobically hard. And that's going to be forward throws. So I want some markers again for another person's feet. So go ahead and take a shoulder width stance, maybe a little wider if you want it a little easier, and put your markers down right in front of them. These are your opponent's feet where they're standing. I'm going to take just an arm length or maybe a half arm length step away from them. And what I'm going to do is turn and squat like I'm going to do a forward throw, a hip throw or shoulder throw. I know some of my students haven't learned that yet, so just go with the motion for now. It'll make sense when we get back together and I can teach you a shoulder or hip throw. Or you can look up what a shoulder or hip throw is. Hold on, did this fall asleep? Huh? We're still recording, okay. All right, so I've got this here. What I'm going to do is like the square drill we were doing before, except now I'm going to go all the way across the square instead of around the square in the circle. So I'm going to take my right foot, if I'm doing right foot forward first, and bring it diagonally across, but inside. And then I'm going to take my left foot and bring it diagonally across and turn. Okay, so right foot, left foot, and now I'm facing 180 degrees away. As I end up in this squat, I'm going to end up on the balls of my feet, leaning forward because I'm trying to take the person who is standing here this way. So I'm trying to go 1, 2, and push them forward. 1, 2, forward. As I do this, the closer I can get my feet together, the more push I'll have, right? If my feet are really wide, I don't have a lot of lift. If my feet are really together, I have a lot of drive I can use. So it'll feel more stable to have them just a little bit apart than directly together, but the closer I can get them, the more power I'll actually have on the throw. Let me show that to you sideways here. So I'm going right foot, left foot, and ideally, my shoulders are still up. I'm leaning forward just a little bit, which is hard to do without someone there, and then pushing forward. So step, step, push. If you want to think about grabbing something and pulling it that way as you're doing it, pull. Note again, I'm trying not to stick my hips out, so I don't want to get here and be here with my butt sticking backwards. I want to be here with my shoulders upright. I could be leaning forward, but I don't want those hips sticking backwards. Those of you who know the difference between shoulder and hip throw, you could practice some of these as hip throws, where you pop your hips off to the side, and some of them as shoulder throws, where you keep your shoulder nice and aligned. Either one of them's okay. All right, we're going to do 10 each side. So 10 starting with your right leg turning to your right, 10 starting with your left leg turning to your left. Okay. It's also a great exercise to do if you happen to have a resistance band that you can loop around something. You can use that resistance band to really feel the pull as you step through into the throw. All right, guys, that's all the exercises I have written down for today. Hopefully you, got your heart rate up a little bit, thought about some techniques you've already learned, maybe learned some new techniques or some new drills you can do on your own. Feel free to keep working on these if they felt like they were interesting. They're good just, eye-foot, eye-hand coordination drills, as well as building you up to some actual martial arts and or self-defense skills. All right, thanks guys.